Welcome back to Chef's Day Off. This is where we have unbridled access to one of the greatest culinary minds on planet Earth.
You.
How was that? Was that pretty good?
That's pretty good.
I practiced that.
No, I mean, you know how to make a boy blush. That's
My name is Marcus. I'm half of the Marcus and Corey Morning Show on Star 1013 FM in the San Francisco Bay Area for iHeartRadio. And we're here on Chef's Day Off to talk about food. I am just here to learn.
My name is Matthew Dolan. I'm the executive chef and one of the partners here at 25 Lusk, and I'm just happy to be part of the Marcus party.
We talk about this all the time.
We
come
do.
to 25. If you come to San Francisco, come to 25 Lusk. Like, don't even hesitate. Come to the rooftop, have the snacks. There's a chef, not only, we always talk about food is love and blah, 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 and that's totally valid. But chef also knows the art of it and the science of it. And that's kind of what we're going to get into today. Why does what works work as it pertains specifically to seasoning?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, sorry.
No. We're going to cover three topics: salt, pepper, and acidity, and why they're important to making your good food phenomenal. Why does restaurant food taste better than home-cooked food a lot of times? So let's start with the big kahuna. Let's start with salt.
We shall.
A lot of times you hear, oh, all you need to do is salt your food, salt and pepper, and you're good to go. Is that a fact? Is that true?
No. As a matter of fact, there's so many different types of salts.
Okay.
Salt has really one major role on this planet, and salt seeks moisture, and when it finds moisture, it holds on to it. So when you're using salt, and ideally you're using it gently, little by little, you can always add, but you can't take away. Salt basically finds through moisture the flavor in whatever you're making, and it enhances and distributes it to a point, and then if you go too far, it becomes too salty.
Chef made a funny comment off camera. Salt is greedy.
It is greedy. All it does is want.
It's greedy and thirsty, like you, Marcus. Where's
come
my
on. I
wine?
didn't know that was-
That's what you said.
I might have said that.
That's kind of the way to dumb it down from the scientific thing. We're not going to get into the science of it necessarily. Just know that salt seeks out moisture, and that's what makes it work.
Exactly. And what you brought up a good point. What makes restaurant food or professional chefs, why is that food different than what you make at home?
Right.
Because if you've practiced and if you've studied the trade, you season as you go, little by little, and you taste as you go. If you follow a recipe that says it needs 1 tablespoon of salt, okay, but the ingredients, wherever that recipe was written, the ingredients might be different, so you have to taste your food as you go. And salt can make miracles happen, or it can totally mess up what you're doing.
So if I'm salting at the end, how much am I missing out on, as opposed to salting as I go?
Well, in the world of metaphor, sorry, it's almost like playing a piano that isn't tuned. The music is off.
Okay.
You can still understand the song, or essentially let's say you're building a house. You start with the foundation. You get your base going, and you season that.
Okay.
You're building a strong, beautiful house. The finishing salt is really like that, just that stroke of paint, that bit of color to make this thing you're so proud of and excited about just beautiful. I mean, you can season only at the end, but you're missing out on all the steps you've taken in cooking, which also contribute flavor.
So let's run it through a couple of things that everybody's going to cook. How would you properly cook a steak? How would you properly salt and season a steak? What's the best thing to do?
The jury is out on this one. I'm a firm believer.
I thought this was going to be an easy question.
It is. I mean, well, it's subjective. So my best way to cook a steak is it's cleaned up. It's ready to go on a grill.
Uh-huh.
I love a grilled steak.
Okay.
I let it sit at room temperature for about half an hour.
Okay.
To temper it. Salt only. And I put it on the grill. So oil first and then salt.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Are you salting and then grilling right away?
I'm going to cover the steak with some oil, and I'm going to make sure my grill's nice and oily and clean.
Okay.
And then I go salt, and I'm going to do the 10-degree thing where I rotate it around. I don't want a chain link fence. I don't want black lines they're burn charred. I want a nice dark brown char. And then I'm going to do that on both sides for about 5 minutes each, and then I'm going to let it rest. Once it's rested and I can feel it, I know it's cooked the way I want it, then I'm going to finish it with some pepper.
So you don't pepper it before?
Not before.
Why is that?
Because, well, pepper's our next stop on the train. But
Right.
Yeah, but no, because...
Sidebar for a second.
Sure, but pepper's a lot more sophisticated and elegant than she's given credit to be.
The quote that I heard was, pepper is her own deal. Like she's her own thing. Salt enhances food. Acid enhances food. pepper is its own deal. That's what I heard.
Pepper's the addition of flavor.
Right.
So, but pepper also has such a different characteristics. And again, we'll get to that in a second, but
Right.
salt is where we start.
What about this idea that I salt the meat an hour before I'm going to cook it, thereby it seeks out the moisture, sucks the moisture out, and then through osmosis goes back into the meat and flavors all of the meat. Is that valid?
I think there's a lot of hacks that have written cookbooks. I'm one of them. No, but there are a lot of jokers out there that come up with these things. I've heard the reverse sear. That does kind of make sense. Sous vide is very popular. I don't know. I think there's a very classic way of doing it this way. Salting it in
Salted
advance.
right away and go.
And well, yeah, temper it so it's not cold to
Right,
hot.
right.
You'll get a much better product. And then grease up that steak, clean grill, saute pan, whatever you're doing, and then salt and go. If you salt in advance, that salt is going to continue looking for moisture. But salt also cooks. So think ham, think prosciutto. Salt is how you're cooking. So salting over time so essentially you're cooking it. So what I'm concerned with that method that you've suggested, that the meat's going to get tough.
In 30 minutes?
Yes, in 30 minutes.
Okay, all right.
15
You're the
minutes.
expert.
No, I mean, in a court of law.
All right, let's move on really quick because I want to talk about layering with salt. Let's talk about a basic marinara sauce. Where am I salting? So I put my hamburger or whatever into the pan. I'm cooking it. I'm salting there.
You're going onions and garlic and all that
Onions
good
and
stuff.
garlic, and then I'm salting there.
So I would go medium heat. I get my aromatics, my onions, my garlic. If you like carrots or celery,
You
all
do
that
those
stuff.
first in a little bit of olive oil.
Slowly sweat them out and a little bit of salt.
Okay.
Then your meat. Get that nice and brown because that meat's going to cook off some moisture. That's going to stop the caramelization of those veggies, and then a little bit of salt.
Okay.
And then, so what you're doing is you're adding seasoning in each level.
You're building flavor.
You're building layers of flavor.
And then once you brown the meat, you've got your aromatics in there.
Well, then do whatever Grandma taught you to do. You know, the tomato sauce or the crushed or whatever your own little.
Is there any
flavor.
merit before you add the tomato sauce to adding some white wine and letting that
Yes,
cook off?
and that's
just for another layer of flavor.
Without a doubt. If you have the interest and discipline to do that, do that. But also, tomatoes carry acidity. They are acidic, so they're going to help you.
necessarily need the
You don't
white
necessarily need to, but it doesn't hurt.
wine. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I finish the salt at the end. But at this point,
You're tasting all the way.
okay.
You're eating some of that raw beef.
And then if you don't want to just add salt, you can add anchovies instead.
You could, yeah. I mean, there are no rules.
What else do we need to know about salt and how it works to make our cooking better?
The most important thing is I'm a big believer in kosher salt as a cooking medium because it blooms right away. So we talk about salt looking for water and moisture and retaining it. Kosher salt is immediate and honest.
Better than Himalayan salt.
That has a longer bloom time. So you're going to throw it in there, and then you're going to taste it, and you're going to taste it again, and then you're going to walk away for a minute, and it's actually going to continue to bloom. It's going to continue to take more moisture, so it's going to become saltier later.
So you think you know, but you have no idea.
Well, I mean,
'cause
it's more-
becoming salty.
It's not a huge difference. Stay away from iodized salt. It actually
garbage.
it's chemically manufactured, and it
Garbage.
doesn't actually take moisture. And
Hot
it tastes-
garbage.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Sorry to all those
That's the
producers of hot
That's
garbage.
the technical term. It's hot garbage.
That's what we say in the locker room. Yes.
So kosher salt is the move.
I believe so. I'm
Because the
sworn to it.
sexy thing to do is to get the pink Himalayan salt. That's what I have in
That's
mind.
nice when you have raw fish or you slice the meat open and you want to do a little finishing salt.
Okay.
That's a sweet touch. But not as a cooking medium, no.
Okay. So rule number 1, salt requires moisture to truly be activated. So don't be dumping salt onto dry things because nothing will happen.
You can, but the downside of that is then the salt will activate in your mouth. And then it's good. So it's just going to be salty followed by flavorless nonsense.
All right. Let's move on to pepper because pepper is very interesting. It's complex, and to your point, it kind of does its own thing. It's not to be added to your steak as your salt is before you grill it.
Oh, everybody does it though. And there's
I know
nothing
they
wrong-
do, and then we're making things happen here.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's change the world.
Well, let's
Chef.
change the world one peppercorn at a time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean pepper is a funny one. Piperine is it's just this family. It's a berry essentially,
Right.
and it's bitter by nature, and so there's ways. I mean, if you think about the last time you were maced, it was pepper. Remember the last time you were
No, I don't. I don't want to know about the last
was
time
me,
you were
sorry.
raised through.
no, pepper's a genius. It's a little genius in the world of cooking. So
So you add it at the end.
unless you keep the peppercorns whole,
Okay,
and
so
you're making a sauce.
okay, real quick, I want to set you up on this because you did tell me there are certain times in cooking to add peppercorns, and there are certain times in cooking to grind.
Yes.
Please explain.
Well, you take this peppercorn. Now, here's the producers, like the McCormick's, the spice companies, will hate me for letting you know this, but a lot of these peppercorns from these bigger companies, they sit in these containers for like years.
Right.
So, and they dry out. So
Right.
that's okay because that's what they're meant to do. But the whole peppercorn, even when it's dry, well, especially when it's dry, will release its flavor in liquid. And so it's an alkaloid. So it's going to be bitter. It's going to add that little pepper spice, but it's not like ginger or habanero or jalapeno where it's going to burn. It has a slow kiss of heat. And if you keep it whole and you cook it in liquid, it releases this beautiful floral component. So it adds a very pleasant
As
subtlety.
a peppercorn
As a peppercorn.
in water.
That
liquid.
same dried peppercorn can be ground right at the moment and put on your steak when you're finishing, or put on your
Right.
fish or whatever into your salad at the end, and you'll still capture that beautiful complexity of flavor. Now, if you buy ground pepper, all of that's pretty much
I
gone.
was gonna
So
say,
all
I
you're
don't
going to
know.
get is the bitter and the heat.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but don't ever buy ground pepper.
It is a very different idea.
But throw that away. Throw your iodized salt away.
It's
just-
ground pepper is the difference of buying a frozen hamburger patty or buying a package of ground beef and shoving that thing in your hands and throw it on the grill. That handmade burger is going to fall apart, but it's going to be more delicious than that weird hockey puck that you just bought.
Like the weird hockey puck akin to ground pepper. Like you're going to be fine. You're going to be full.
Sure.
You're not going to be happy.
No, you're not going to be as happy. So this is, again, going back, this is the difference between home cooking and restaurant cooking.
Right.
Those little details make the difference,
Sure.
subtleties.
I can't wait to move on to my favorite.
Oh.
We're going to talk about acid.
What type of acid?
No, easy.
Oh, sorry.
Cooking. We're still cooking.
Just remembering my failed college attempt.
So I have to tell you that once I discovered acid and how it works, and by acid I mean citrus and vinegar, and my cooking went through the roof. I had no idea that basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've read, acid has the same effect as salt. It enhances the overall flavors of your food, as long as you don't go too far. That's the caveat. Am I right on that?
You're close.
I'm close.
You're close.
always
That was
just
not a
close.
bullseye. They can't all be bullseye, Marcus. No. I'm sorry. You invited me. So here's the
It's
deal.
tough to explain cooking to a Michelin chef.
Well, no, look, I love your enthusiasm, and you're so damn close. You mean, here's
there.
almost.
Right there.
You get a participation award trophy.
Oh my God.
So no, but look, vinegar's tough, man. Vinegar barrels through fat.
It
and
does.
and dense items in cooking.
But the day I added it to my chili, it was
It
awesome.
makes a difference.
The day I added it to my soup, it was
But
awesome.
you have to be as careful with vinegar as you do with salt, because vinegars have flavor. Lemon juice has flavor. There are neutral ways to use acidity in cooking. Acidity basically paves the way for salt to do its job.
Right.
I just had an Elmer Fudd moment where I was so excited about acidity. So it'd be like sherry vinegar, balsamic vinegar. These guys,
Right.
they taste like something.
Right.
Lemon juice has a flavor. So they need to be used in the same sort of gentle
let's
measure.
take it all the way back and let's just talk about that standard white vinegar, period.
Oh,
and
the distilled stuff?
yeah.
For the windows?
Is that okay?
No.
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 Okay, never mind. All right, cut.
I mean, it's not bad. It's not good.
All right, move forward with your
it's a little-
bougie ass flavored
Oh,
fingers.
jeez.
Fine.
Called me bougie. No, you asked the question. So here's the deal. It's great for cleaning your windows.
Jesus.
But it's also it has a distinct kind of chemical flavor because it's distilled a few times.
Okay.
So it almost has like a grain alcohol component where it's unpleasant. You could use a little bit of it. There are white wine vinegars that are neutral. There's champagne vinegars that are neutral.
Well, okay, so let me ask the question in a different way. If I
Sure.
just want an everyday neutral vinegar, I'm going to toss my distilled vinegar and think about my life choices. What vinegar? What am I grabbing?
I would buy a champagne vinegar.
Okay.
And I would spend a few more bucks. Don't get the cheap stuff. I would buy a slightly more expensive champagne vinegar.
Okay.
Because it's going to be fresh and bright, and it's going to do what salt does. It's going to enhance.
Right.
It's not going to add.
Right. I had no idea. See, we're learning.
We're learning today.
Okay, so champagne. So toss the distilled vinegar. This is on your sheet.
No, keep it in the garage to clean some windows. or
Clean
something.
some windows. and grab a nice champagne vinegar instead for a neutral vinegar.
That's the way to go. Now, however, let's say you're cooking mushrooms.
Okay.
Sherry vinegar works like a freaking charm.
Absolutely.
Let's say you're cooking onions. Balsamic vinegar and onions go really well together.
Right.
Red wine vinegar, anything you're doing with meats.
And all you do, you're brightening the flavors that are already there.
Just add a splash.
That's key.
A drop or two. Because it has,
If you start going crazy here, I'll tell you how I ruined a pot of chicken soup. I thought I was cool, and I was going to add vinegar to brighten it up. And I went a little Swedish chef, and I was just like,
Did you actually? No, sorry.
Next thing, out of nowhere, I made hot and sour soup. I did. It was still delicious,
But it wasn't what you were planning.
but it was no longer chicken soup.
Now, did the other diners did pass with them?
There are no other diners. It's just
Come
me.
on, you didn't eat a pot of soup alone, did
Yeah,
you?
absolutely. Did. I brought it into work.
We'll talk about that on the next episode about how we'll find you some dining companions.
My point is, vinegar is brilliant, but there is a point of no return. You have to be careful.
But it's the same thing with salt. You can add, but you can't take away.
Right.
And everyone has a different palate. So in the restaurant environment, I moved here from Northern Europe. I'm in the country of Finland. They're very switched on with acidity, pepper, and salt. We're not as much.
Right.
First couple of months opening the restaurant, and people were like, "This is sour," and I'm tasting this stuff myself, and I'm like, "Wait,
It tastes brilliant."
But it has these 5 ingredients in it, and you can taste all 5 of them thanks to this sourness you call it. So and there's no right or wrong. Everyone has a different palate.
Right.
But getting people to kind of marry the idea that acidity makes sense and it's not off-putting. Like, people at times would think that something had turned or was spoiled.
Or you ruined it.
Or it was just like sitting out for 3 days. And then how do you do that? You can't going to someone in the restaurant environment and saying, "No, you're wrong." Well, they're like, "F you," and wait for your Yelp review.
Let me ask you the natural question, which is, if I do over vinegar something, is there a way to save it?
There's one way to go back. Take all the ingredients you just put in there and add more of all of them.
Okay.
To then kind of lower the percentage.
Okay.
If you don't have that kind of time or the ingredients on hand, you can do a little bit of sugar to offset the acidity. But now you're changing things. Now it's it's Frankenstein stuff. You know, that's
Good luck.
Yeah,
You're gonna
good
white
luck.
knuckle that all the way to the dining table.
Just get if you're cooking, get everybody super drunk.
Yeah,
they won't know the difference. at
Okay,
that point.
real quick, last point. My other favorite acid is citrus. Whether it's lemon juice, lime juice, there is nothing I like more than making like a berry compote for the crepes in the morning on a Sunday, and you add a little squeeze of lemon.
Is that an invitation?
Just if you'd like, but you don't want to come to my kitchen. You've seen it. You add a little splash of lemon to your frozen blueberries and some agave or some honey or some sweetener, and they're just it brightens them up like crazy.
You also get more of the complexity of the product itself.
Yes.
A blueberry tastes like a blueberry.
Yes.
When you add a little bit of acidity, you get the floral notes, you get the minerality.
Yes.
And you see what the blueberry actually has to offer.
That's right.
And that's seasoning, man. Like, that's what it's all about.
Again, that is why the restaurant dessert might potentially taste better than yours.
I mean, I don't know. We'll have to.
I don't want to offend any moms or grandmas out there or anybody that cooks.
Yeah, that's why I'm staying on the sidelines for this one.
But my point is, don't skimp out on the acidity.
No.
I love talking about acids.
But when you enter the world of trying out this 3-part seasoning, and you begin using a little bit of acidity, go gently, be conservative, learn it.
You can always put more in.
Blueberry and lemon, but you can't take it away. Correct. I mean, for example, like you're making salsa for chips and salsa, lime juice. It makes sense, but little by little, because then you lose the flavor of tomato, because lime has a flavor that will compete.
It'll take over.
It'll take over.
It will like there is a point of no return in your guac where you're like almost perfect, and then oh God, it's too much.
Now it's like this green mash of lime flavored something.
Have we covered everything?
I don't know.
Salt, pepper, acid, any other outlying players?
I mean, those are the 3 key things. Now, you know, one thing we didn't cover was pre-made seasonings that you could buy.
How do you feel about those?
Oh, if I were
I already know the answer. I already know the answer.
I would borrow the neighboring trash can from the grocery store, so it wasn't mine. I'd wear gloves, a ski mask, and I'd wipe them off the freaking shelves, because you cannot put salt, ground chilies, ground pepper, ground onions in one thing and say, "Oh, just hit this and go," because it's not meant to go that way. It's easy, And if you're on a busy work schedule, there's no shame in that at all.
Right.
Do it if you love it. I just think that don't do that.
Okay, it'll be decent, but it could be better.
It could be better.
So I think we need to do an episode on making your own rubs and things, but not now. We're out of time.
All right.
Chef, thank you for your time on your day off. It's nice to be here at
my pleasure.
25 Lusk. Again, make sure you hit it up if you come to the Bay here in San Francisco. And we'll catch you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, Marcus.